With heightened security, anticipated protests, a lot of people gathered there. Former President Trump appearing at a federal court in Miami now to face charges he misled investigators, mishandled the country's secrets. Trump once again asked protesters to make their voices heard in a peaceful manner. Listen to this.
Do you have a message for those who may be planning to go to just to demonstrate their support for you?
I do. We need strength in our country now. Our country is being taken away from us. Our country is going communist. It's going Marxist. It's going really bad. And the people of our country aren't that way, but the people running it are. And we need strength at this point. And everyone's afraid to do anything. They're afraid to talk. And they have to go out and they have to protest peacefully.
Now, Trump has denied any wrongdoing and maintains he was entitled to the documents he had. And he has said the prosecution was and is politically motivated. It looks that way to a lot of us. We've got a lot of legal questions about this case, so let's bring in constitutional lawyer Abraham Hamilton III, who is the legal counsel for the American Family Association. Abraham, good to talk to you again.
Good to be back with you, Steve.
All right, so first of all, I went back and refreshed my memory of some articles from the New York Times and Business Insider. The complaint about Trump back in 2017 and 18, he didn't read the intelligence briefings. He didn't read intelligence reports. He didn't care about that stuff. Now, apparently, he cares about it too much, and he read too much, and he kept it from. The complaints go from here to here to here. Now, let me ask you this: the documents in question here. No matter what the question is now, did Donald Trump as president have a right to have those documents?
Yes, as president and commander-in-chief of the United States military and intelligence agencies, he has access to the documents.
Of course he did. Did he have a right to show those documents to anybody he wanted? Because the president is the sole decider. If he wants to declassify something and show it to somebody over lunch, he could do that legally, right?
He has the authority to declassify, and there's a mechanism for him to do that.
Correct. But there's no real outline how to do that. He could just say, I declassify it. He could have stood in the White House at 10 minutes before noon on the 20th of January and said, I declassify everything. He could have done that. And there's no strict procedure that I've seen yet that would make that out of bounds. The point that I'm making here, Abraham, he had documents he had a legal right to have. He had documents he had a legal right to show to people. It is the claim of the government that after he was president no longer, that somehow the documents that he had in his possession legally and moved legally and transported legally were now illegal. That's the claim here. That's the foundation of the argument, correct?
That's the crux of the argument, which is why it's going to be a significantly challenging task to carry this indictment, which I would remind your viewers is a formal allegation. An indictment is not evidence of a crime in and of itself. That is going to be a part of the challenge on the part of Special Prosecutor Jack Smith to bring this incident to trial, which was why in a lot of people's minds, they don't expect anything remotely approaching a conviction, which reveals, and if you don't expect a conviction in this instance, why bring it in the first place, which leads us to the conclusion, well, could it be a political maneuver?
Of course, it's a political maneuver. It's a targeted prosecution of just one person. We know in the Bill Clinton case, going back, I believe, to 2007, Bill Clinton had numerous recordings, tapes of his time as president of the United States, kept in a sock drawer. I don't really want to think about Bill Clinton's sock drawer, but there we are. I'm sorry about that. We've got Hillary Clinton, all right, who we know who was subpoenaed to turn over thousands of emails and to turn over devices. Did she do that? No, she did not. She destroyed those emails, and then she destroyed those devices. If I were subpoenaed and I told the prosecutor, yeah, I'm not going to give it to you. In fact, I destroyed those documents, those records, and those devices. What would happen to me?
You would be charged with a felony, obstruction of justice, if not other charges. And I can tell you, having been a prosecutor for a decade, I have filed charges against people for destruction of evidence would be a separate charge in addition to obstruction of justice. And you would be charged criminally just like I would and any other person who is not gifted to participate in a segmented, two-tiered justice system.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Validity here, the Presidential Records Act is going to come in, the obstruction of justice, espionage. I mean, this is the one that's the biggest stretch of all to me. You can say a lot about Donald Trump, and people do. Is he a hard guy to work for? Probably. Difficult to be around? Probably. But spot on when it came to policy. And espionage, I think Donald Trump, one thing you can say about him unequivocally is he loves this country. He would not share details of secret information with anybody that would do any harm to this country. My belief. Your thoughts?
And you made some salient points about the not to be discussed any further sock drawer. Hillary Clinton, who I describe as she who shall never be president. I don't even like saying her name. But you also have former President Barack Obama, who is responsible for the National Archives and Records Administration's Act being amended in 2009. Why? Because of his possession of our nation's secrets outside of the scope of the then existing National Archives and Records Administration Act. So this is something that's not only trying personally for the president, this is something that is literally cutting directly at the seams of our nation.
Here's something else I want to ask you about. Because there are all of these unelected bureaucrats that work in all of these different agencies who at their own discretion, many of them, thousands of them, can say, this is secret, this is top secret. Who are they to determine all of this? And we have gone from a country that when Ronald Reagan was president, there were 50,000 statutes on the books, legal statutes. Now there are 350,000 statutes on the books outlining crimes in America. I mean, we've criminalized everything. Do you believe, let me just get to this. Do you believe Donald Trump's committed any crimes here?
I don't believe he's committed any crimes, but the reality is in our system of government where we have a system that is governed by the people for the people, it ultimately is going to be decided by a jury unless something happens prior to a trial. And the question is not whether or not even does Jack Smith think he committed a crime. The question will be, do 12 jurors in Miami believe the president is guilty, the former president is guilty of any crimes? And I think you're going to find it's going to be challenging to persuade them that this is anything beyond a political maneuver.
Right. So here we are. It's a process. This could drag out for months. Well, actually, Abraham, this could drag out for years, couldn't it? This could be a very long process, the beginning of a very long, tedious process with lawyers and motions and action going on. I'll give you the last word. How long could this take?
Yeah, I expect this process to drag out. And unfortunately, I think it might have been a part of the design to have this cloud looming over the presidential primary season because the indictment just starts the process. You're going to have pretrial motions, you're going to have motions to suppress, you're going to have a whole lot of things that could transpire after today's arraignment. And I think that was a part of the objective from the very beginning. The clip you played of Mr. Biden is very telling. Anything we can do to make sure he does not regain access again to power is what they're going to try to do.
All right, Abraham, good to see you again. We'll keep you on speed dial because we'll get some information out of the courtroom here sometime in the near future. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, up after the break, we'll continue our reporting from Miami. Ed Henry, Karen Turk on the ground there now, and they join us next here on America's Voice Live with their insights. Don't go anywhere.